Hello, good morning. I'm wondering if the stream, if everything is okay. Cool. So I will continue right where we left off last time, sir, so that we can have full screen. Good. So last time we left off, let me just open my NeoVim. Let me open the global .r file. Just for let me open my R console. Last time we left off with this as the app. This was our progress until last time. I'm going to open my inspect element so that I can put it as if it were a phone. So we have these exercises, and we were able to add a new exercise. We could drop down some notes. And if we saved it here on exercises, it rendered all of them again because I was using insert element insert UI, sorry, instead of re-rendering everything. What I could do now to fix this error is the following. So let's go right in there. That was on our server. So right here, in this little piece of code, what we were doing is that we purred, so we went through the whole we went through the whole list of exercises, and we added all of them. The thing is that we don't want to add all of them again, and I could just use remove UI and remove the previous one, but I don't think that would be really that efficient. This little piece of code runs every time like this is observed, right? Every time this changes. The user could also delete an exercise. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make it simple and easy, and I'm not gonna use insert UI. I think that would be the best thing that I could do. So I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller so that I can have a little bit more working space. Let me see if the stream is if everything's okay. Yeah, everything seems to be good. Cool. So yeah, let's continue with it. Give me a second. I don't think the audio is working. So for desktop audio, let me set it to. There you go. Now you should be able to hear the music. Cool. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up my UI.r, and I'm gonna change this div where I'm inserting the elements. Where is that div? Here it is. I'm just gonna change this to a UI output. Yep, to a UI output. The output ID would be list exercise. Let's just call it the same. And now right here, what I would do, since everything that's rendered is inside a reactive context already, I would just go ahead and put output list exer. It's gonna be a render UI, and inside of this render UI, I'm gonna go ahead and put this whole piece of code. Just delete this and paste it here. There you go. And let me delete this observer. So if I do this and I run the app again, I'm gonna set the port to something fixed like 8080. Okay, I got an error. Per map, user exer. This exercise. I mean, the error should have been just right there at the beginning, because at the beginning this didn't exist. So what I can do here is I can use one of the new features of Shiny. I can bind event user xer is the name of the variable. User xer, yep. Oops, here user xer. And by binding that event, I should not get the error here at the beginning, because now this little piece of code, this will only run whenever this is changed. So it wouldn't run at the beginning. It would bind it to that event, which is pretty important. So let me set this here to 8080. What did I do? Change this to 8080. I'm gonna inspect it, and I'm gonna make this floating so that we can move it around and stuff. Cool. So yeah, now I have here my, okay, now it's not rendering the exercises. User exerts, sorry. Okay, it might still show the error, but it shouldn't. Yeah, it's because at the beginning it's empty, but here it's, once again, it shows it. Okay, it doesn't, what is this that it doesn't show? Observe, new exer, no, this. I mean, the only thing, oh, because I'm using here insert UI. I don't want to insert UI, right? I just want to return the div. So this one closes with this one, so I should delete this one. And this should be fine. Let me align this. There you go. Now I shouldn't get the error. My bad. And I'm gonna make it stop. Yep, so now I have my exercise here. If I add a new exercise, notes, I'm not gonna put a URL yet. I should get it right here. Yep, there you go. So now I get dynamic. I can now dynamically add a new exercise. Cool. Let's keep going with it then. So I'm saving currently all of my exercises inside a list, which I can then transfer into a JSON file. And then I can write that JSON file into a database like Postgres or Firebase or whatever. It's JSON, it's portable, it's just text. But now what I need to figure out for now, I won't be touching databases yet. So I want to be really mindful that I'm going to be using authentication here in the future. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to add some safety into not the UI, but on the server side. So this user variable, it's fine. It's going to get updated dynamically. But I don't want... so this variable is going to be empty right at the beginning, because it's not going to have anything in it, but that's fine. If the user is not logged in, it's not going to show any. But the new exercises one, I don't want any of this to happen unless the user is authenticated. So in this user reactive values, I can add auth, and this could just be auth equals false at the beginning. I'm gonna set it to true for now because I'm gonna need it for testing purposes, but by default it's gonna start as false, and when the user gets authenticated, this will go to true. So right here I can just add if user auth. As easy as that. Add here the key. Move this. There you go. Oops. Close right here. So now if the user is not auth, it's not gonna do that process. And let me copy this and paste it right here as well. I don't want the user to be able to create new exercises and call any inputs if he is not authenticated. Cool. So now let's add like a mock value. So here in the main tab, let's call an action button, or how is it, F7 button for input ID. Let's call it auth. And for now, I'm just gonna put in a label. It's got login. Let's call it login, and that would be it. And here, let's just add an observer. Observe, and let's just make user auth be equal to true. That would be the whole thing, and I would bind it to the button input auth. Was it? Yeah. Cool. And let me start it as false. I would also have to bind these events, not this one, but this one, to user auth, because I wanted to load the information from that user whenever he gets authorized. So now if I run my app, let me say launch browser equals false, and let me reload right here. So if I click the login button, I should now get my workouts. If I reload, I'm gonna have no workouts, right? If I log in, workouts. Perfect. In the future, I'm gonna have to be adding maybe JSON web tokens or something like that in a Redis database for sessions in order to maintain the sessions. Yeah, now I can add here new. I'm not gonna paste any images yet. Should get new. Perfect. Works. Okay. Let me make this a little bit smaller so that we can have more working space. So now what I'm gonna wanna keep track of is I wanna be able to see, well, to add progress and add a schema for working for my workouts, right? So I want to be able to show, okay, I did this workout, or I have this plan for my workouts. And if I just open right here my LibreOffice, let me open up a calc. So I want to be able to say like, okay, my exercise and what exercise. So for example, bench, weight, right? So I'm gonna want to do 100 kilograms. How many reps? Could set it up in okay, apparently I lost connection right there. Okay, but it's fine. I only had no data for like a couple seconds right there. So back to this. So I want to be able to set a way for it to repeat. I could set it by day of the week, which I don't think would be optimal. I usually don't do my workouts Monday this, Tuesday this. I usually go in a sequential kind of way. But that's something I can worry about later on. For now, no, actually, I think sequential is a much better way to do it. So I could set day 1 to be, so this would be day 1. Let's see, in day 1 I only did this. In day 2, I do leg day. So for example, a squat, and I would do 12 reps right here, for example. And for day 3, let's say day 3 is, I don't know, let's say I'm gonna do pull downs, like what, 30 kilograms, and let's say 15 reps. So I want to be able to keep track of this, and let's say day 4 is always a rest day. Let's say this rest day, right? And this would repeat for eternity, right? I will have like a repetition of this for forever and ever. But I want to be able to change specific dates. Well, not specific dates, but like, okay, from now on, I want to be able to do, instead of 100 kilograms, 110 kilograms, right? Or instead of 110 kilograms, I will want to do, let's see, 100 kilograms, but 10 reps, something like that. And I want to be able to edit that from then on out. Like that would be my plan. So I need to add some UI. Oh, I haven't started yet. I want to add some UI for doing that. So I have my exercises, right? Okay, let me authorize myself, log in. I want to be able to have day 1 configure it, day 2 configure it, day 3 configure it, day 4 configure it. And on the day that I'm actually going to do my exercise, it's going to tell me your previous day was day 2. Do you want to do day 3 or do you want to do something else? And then I could go and it can ask me, do you want to edit day 3? And I think that would work, and you could look at like a historic version of it. So cool, let's actually do that. So what I imagine, that would go on the workouts tab. And let me look back at the Shiny Mobile documentation. I'm gonna need some sort of picker input. Select. So I'm guessing like this F7 select. I don't know if there's any example of it. But this is kind of what I need, right? So let's do it. On my work list, I want to be able to select, let's set an input ID. And what would be the input ID for this? See, workout day select, right? The label would be day, what day I want to edit, and my choices. I might want to be able to give them, add as many days if someone wants to have a 10-day routine. Well, that's gonna be difficult to keep track of. But for now, I would want it to be just 1, 2, 3, just to make it easier for me to wrap my mind around. Yeah, let's just set it to 1, 2, 3 for now. What other things do I need selected? No, yeah, this is fine. Cool. Let me save this. How would it look? Yep, so here I would select day 1, day 2, day 3. Cool. After selecting that, right here, what I would have maybe is a table, and that table would show me, again, the exercise, the weight, and the amount of repetitions that I need to do, right? Yeah, I think that's cool. So I don't know if I brought, let me open on my global.r. I'm gonna bring in the library DT, which is good for working with data tables in HTML with Shiny. So I'm gonna have a DT data table output, and the output ID would be workouts day summary, right? Something like that. I can actually just put this in the in the same line to save up some lines of code. And let me just make this a little bit bigger. Yep. So I have this, which would be a table that would show me my, or maybe not a table. I could add like little squares, something like this. Let me look in. Something like this, but smaller, and shows that would show me how much what I need to do and how many times, all of that. Cool. Yeah, I think I might do it like that, so I'm not gonna use DT. I'm gonna have a render my UI output, sorry, the same way. So output ID, workouts, day summary. And I can also put this inside the same line. So right here on the server, I'm gonna create a because I want to be able to edit that, right? So I'm gonna definitely be creating a workouts table, a data frame. No, but the workouts table would show me my past. No, workouts table would just show me like my workouts, how I have them configured. Okay, I think it's time to actually get into a database. Start writing code that way. So let's do it. I'm gonna sudo. I'm gonna go into Postgres. Let me PSQL. Oh, sudo systemctl start Postgres. PSQL. Let me create database Shiny Fitness. First, let me create a role. Create role. Create user. Let's call it Shiny Fitness as well, with encrypted password. For now, I'm just gonna say 21234. And I need to put this between. There we go. And now let me create database Shiny Fitness with owner Shiny Fitness. There you go. I created the database now. Cool. I'm gonna use a little program, DV diagrammer. Just gonna let me diagram. Let me have some things in here, and let me just move it to another. To create a new diagram, just so that we can work this out together. New diagram. Yep. There you go. So, what tables am I gonna need for my app? I'm gonna do all the tables currently that I might need. So, I'm gonna need a table with the users, right? Or maybe not the users, because the users would be stored in in Firebase. No, but a users tables might still be important. So UID, let's just put it as UID. This would be a string. What was it I used this program? I absolutely totally forgot. So TV diagram. Okay, yeah, this is done. So no, wait, for TV diagram I would need to. I'm sure it's like this, right? Expected. Is it just a space? Oh yeah, it's just a space. My bad. Okay. So I want UID to be, and this should be required for it to be required. To set it as PK as the primary key, I need to put here PK. Yep. So that's my primary key. You have like username. This would also be a string. User. I could have like the age, just to be an integer. And I think that's about it. I don't think, maybe weight. This will also be an integer. And maybe like unit. So like what unit of measurement the person uses. I think that's enough information about the user, right? So let's create another table. Table exercises. And here I would have the user ID, which would be a string, and I would have the actual exercises, right? Which would also be which would be text, and it would actually probably be a long text because it's going to be a JSON. Cool. Table, and here we would have workouts. So I could keep, because I only did this as the example, right? It would be quite fast to query this information as a JSON, but then I would have to transform it into a data frame inside R. And for doing joins, I don't think I would be doing many joins either way, but it could still just slow us down a little bit, especially at scale. And I could just query this into an API. I wouldn't really need. No, I'm gonna put it all inside the database. So I would have here exercises, and I would have the exercise name. No, I'm gonna keep it as a JSON. I think as a JSON it's fine. I don't think that's gonna make. I don't think that's gonna be any problem. Cool. So I'm gonna have my exercises and I'm gonna have my workouts. My workouts, I think I could also save them as JSON. Although I think that would. No, actually saving them as JSON would be. So I want to be able to keep track of my past workouts, but I could save that inside another table. So let's do it. Let's just save the workouts as a JSON as well. I don't think there's any problem with that. We could just convert from JSON. That's a really fast process. So we're gonna have the UID, and we're gonna have our workouts as long text. And now in another table, we're gonna have past workouts. And here, what we would have is definitely the UID, of course, of the user. We would have the workout summary, right? Summary, which would tell us, okay, I was supposed to do this, but I actually did this. I think that would work well. So those would be long text. I'm gonna have a date. Workout day, right? And this would be a date, right? I think this works well. So let me save this. I'm gonna save this. Let me set it as workout. Shiny Fitness. I'm gonna set it up. If I need to come back and change it, well, I'll just come back and change it. That's the least of my problems. Why wouldn't it save? There you go. So let me export this into Postgres. I'll just put it there in my downloads. If I take a look at it, it's just this. It's the code that I need to be able to create this. So let me just paste this into my, let me PSQL into my Shiny Fitness. Shiny Fitness. Database Shiny Fitness. So it's without the capital F. There you go. Type string doesn't exist. So I think it's just text, right? I would have to set it here in my DB diagram. It would be just text. 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 You know, it would also be text. 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 Cool. So string. And I want to replace it with text. Replace all. Cool. This should now work wonders. Long text stuff. I was SQL long. Yeah, so it's just text apparently. Okay, so let me slash DT. Okay, cool. So my exercises, past workouts, users, and workouts tables all configured correctly. Cool. So now, instead of doing this, I'm gonna put right here. I'm just gonna put like user UID. I'm gonna set it to 1. I'm gonna be user ID 1 just for the example. So these Xers, I'm gonna copy this whole list. If I paste it here, Yep, that works perfect. Let me save this into a Xers list. So now if I look at Xers list, there you go. Now we're gonna use JSON Lite to JSON library JSON Lite. Do I not have JSON Lite installed? Yep. So to JSON Xers list. There you go. That will be what I'm gonna save on the database. It's gonna be that piece of text, that JSON. Cool. So now Xers JSON would do this, and do Xers JSON. There you go. I have my string. So in my exercise table, let me not save this. On my exercise table, I have my UID and I have my exercises. So first I'm gonna add myself as a user. So let me user info. Yes, no, I'm just gonna. No, I'm not. I don't need an interface for adding user information. So I'm just gonna. User info would be a data frame, right? So for UID would be 1, right? So for the test, my username, I want it to be just Andres. For my age, 19. For my weight, that would be 81 kilograms. So 81. And my units, I want everything to be in kilograms. So kg. So I'm gonna have to set up a connection. That connection, I usually set it up here in the global. So I'm gonna bring JSON Lite. There you go. Perfect. And connection, right? I'm gonna have to set up that connection as a global variable. I want everything to be able to access that connection. Every module in the future. So now this would be DVI, DV connect, right? With our Postgres, and for DV connect, for it changes the method. I'm gonna need to see the documentation. So driver, yeah, that was, but no, I need it for Postgres. Not with ODVC, I want it with our Postgres. DVI, this is not very helpful. Postgres SQL. But host DB name. Okay, so DB name, Shiny Fitness. Host would be localhost for now. I'm gonna put this all in environment variables for now. Let me open up my .r environment, which lets me. So I'm gonna put DB name would equal Shiny Fitness. My DB host would be localhost. My DB password pw1234, as I set up earlier. My DB user would be Shiny Fitness as well. And my DB port would be 5432. So now I'm going to put here sys.getEnv DB name why do I do this? This is for security, in order for you not to leak your well, it doesn't matter for this one because I'm using a stupid name, 1234 localhost, whatever. But in production, you don't want to leak your password or your API keys or whatever. So I put them in. So you put them in the R environment. So for the here, DB host. For port, I would use sys.getEnv dv port. For is it user? I would use sys.getEnv. Sorry, sys.getEnv dv user. And for the password, is it password? Yes. I would use sys.getEnv dvpw. Let me write this here. If I run the app again, role Andres does not exist. Let me set this back to where it was. Okay, yeah, but I'm not using role Andres. I'm using user Shiny Fitness, which makes absolutely no sense. sp.renviron. Oh yeah, I need to restart the Shiny session, the R session, because if I don't, it's not gonna load in the new Shiny run app port 8080 launch dot browser f. There you go, it worked now. Works perfectly. And now I have a connection to my database. Perfect. So now that I have the connection to the database, I could just use this through Plumber, which is probably a better idea, but no, I'm not gonna do it for now. So good. After user is authorized, right? Probably from a third party like Firebase or something, it's gonna receive a UID, right? So I'm gonna have to add another observe for all that thingy, right? So it's gonna, what it's gonna do after it gets authorized, let's say after the authorization, user UID is set. So let's set this to 1. We can delete it right here. Cool, user UID is equal to 1. So if the user is auth, right, then I want to do the next thing. I want to query the table, the user's table, right, on my database, and I want to check if the user ID is inside that, right? And if it isn't, it's gonna write it, and it's gonna ask the user for their weight, their age, etc. Okay, let's continue. User info table, right? What I'm gonna do is table the connection, and what table? It's gonna be the is it user or users? I forgot. Users. Right. And after, I'm gonna apply here a filter, and what I'm gonna do is, if UID in, or no, UID equals user UID. Right. For now I'm gonna print this table, user info table, just so that you can see what, and from how I'm thinking of working this on. I'm gonna bind this event to user auth. So this will only work every time the user gets authorized. I don't want it to be reading that constantly. So if I do this and I auth myself, actually it disconnected itself. Fetch permission denied for table users. So I need to alter table. So I'd have to give myself permission. Give read and write permission to table in Postgres. I don't want to use Oracle there. Yeah, so I would have to use a grant, right? Grant, select, insert. I would have to add all of this to the whole. Grant all privileges on kinds to Minnow. Cool. Cool. So let's do that on here. So here I would have to add to Shiny Fitness here on users. Let's just do it for the test for now. Force evaluation R, input. Yeah, so here I would have to go for UID equals user. UID. Let me stop this round again. It still goes out. And here, UID equals UID. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, it gives me an empty table, pretty much. That's what I wanted it to go. So I'm gonna give past workouts and exercises. Did I write it wrong? Exer. Oh, here. 7, cool. Okay, so I have access to all the tables now. And now I can do this. I can collect it. Right? It's going to be a small table. It's either going to be one row or it's going to be 0 rows. Now I can check if nrow user info table is equal to 0. Then what I'm going to want to do is, I don't know if there's a modal form in this, so like a modals and pop-ups. So I would have to use a dialog, right? But okay, for now I'm just gonna add default information. Later on I can add the dv write table. The connection would be con, so con equals con. After this I write the table name, right? So I think it's name, right? Yep, name. So this will be go on users. And what data do I want to add to users? For now, I'm just going to add a data frame where UID equals UID, right? The user ID that just got authenticated. I'm going to add the, where did I put it here? The username what do you call default for now. Age, I'm gonna set it to 19, just my age. The weight, let's set it to my weight, 81 kilos, and the unit would equal kilograms, kg. And we can put this inside the reactive values. So instead of user info table, just user info table, user info table, right? And I can set this if it's n rows, or can paste this here. User info table will now be equal to this. In the rare case that for some reason the user has not been registered, and then it's going to write in user info table into the database. So let me try that now. If I go here, and I forgot something, I have to add append equals true, because I don't want to override the whole table. I just want to append this new information. So let me log in, and it worked. If I log in again, it still works. And now I'm just gonna add a print right after here. Print user info table. It should immediately print out the row that I added. Yep, there you go. User ID 1, username default, age 19, weight 81 kilograms, unit. So I'm gonna have to add a place where the user can edit that information. If I just click login over and over, it's not gonna do anything. But yep, I've been successfully logged in, and now I have my user info. Great. So in terms of progress for this episode, what we did is we fixed the exercises menu, the new exercises part. In the workouts, we're going to be able to add the little workouts for every single day of the user wants. We created the tables inside the database where we're going to store our information. We made a connection to the database, and we added this piece of code that logs in our user, and after logging in, it gets its information from the user's table. Okay, good. I'm gonna quit all. I'm gonna git add dot. I'm gonna commit it. Establishes connection to database, and let me push it. Cool. So that should be it for today. I'm gonna be looking forward to answering any comments if there are any. See you in the next stream.